Hey everybody, welcome to Confessions of a Huge Whiner Volume 4. We're going to go back to France today. Yeah, it's just me. The wife's actually out working today. I know, right? I don't know why, but I guess someone's got to afford the wine, right? So today I'm going to teach you a couple of things. We're going to talk about one of the lesser known wine regions. Lesser known, but certainly maybe less respected wine regions. We're going to go to the Languedoc-Roussillon region of France. These are wines that are of good quality, or I wouldn't be drinking them, obviously, but also are generally quite a bit cheaper. You're not going to find this kind of quality at Bordeaux or Burgundy at this price. There's 15 different appellations in the Languedoc-Roussillon. 5 of them are ones you'll see a lot, including this one here, Saint-Chinion. We'll get to that one a little later. We're going to start with the white wine. I have one of each for you today. These are both wines that I bought at the Vancouver National Wine Festival in February. Wow, it's a long time ago, 8 months or so ago. Last time the wife and I were really out in a public setting for any amount of time, and the last event we had at that was called Dine Italia, beautiful lunch at La Terrazza in Vancouver. It's an amazing event, we go to every year, but the guy sitting right next to me, like right here, was from Italy, February 28th, just before COVID clobbered us, and I shook hands with him. He ate this far away from me. You know how those wine dinners, you're right next to him. And of course, at the tasting rooms, we were right around people from all over the wine world, Italy, France, the countries that really got clobbered by COVID right after we left, or right after they left. March the 1st was our last day. We stayed in town after the festival and went to see Dear Evan Hansen at the Queen E. Amazing play. If you can, I highly recommend you check it out if you get a chance. When we're able to go back to plays again. And then days after that, we were into lockdown, right? So boy, we're lucky we didn't come home with something, because tough to imagine that nobody at that festival had COVID on February 28th, right? Anyway, wow, yeah, you think about that and you go, geez, what a bullet we must have dodged. So these are 2 wines that I enjoyed at the festival. I will post my reviews of them from that festival, the link to it after this. The Languedoc-Roussillon used to be 2 different regions, but in the late 80s they combined the 2. You'll see them with a hyphen, Languedoc-Roussillon, but you'll probably just hear Languedoc more often than anything else. That's just it. People just still call it the Languedoc region. These are some of the oldest vines in France, along with the Provence region. These ones were planted. They can trace them back to the early Greeks in the 5th century BC. So this is some old vines. And they used to make a really high quality, well-respected wine up until the 19th century, when the phylloxera epidemic hit, and it killed a lot of the high-quality vines in the Languedoc region. They were replanted. They tried to replant them with the same varietals with American rootstock, which was resistant to the disease, but that didn't work with the terroir, so they ended up planting a lot of cheaper varietals. So that's one of the reasons that Languedoc, probably the quality and the reputation of Languedoc went downhill a little bit for a while. But boy, it's coming back in a big way now. They've really got some good wines. What varietals you find there, you're going to find all the Rhone varietals. You're going to find lots of international varietals. Merlot, Cab Sauv, Cab Franc, a little bit. Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Carignan. There's lots of them. And this one, Picpoul Blanc. And I say Blanc because there also is a Picpoul Gris and a Picpoul Noir. And I know less than nothing about those 2, so I'm not even going to talk about them. I picked these 2 wines for a reason. Also, 1, they're good. 2, they're very easy to find. These are both available in any BC liquor store. This one especially, literally any BC liquor store, even the ones we have in Chilliwack, and we don't have the biggest BC liquor stores here in Chilliwack. This one you'll find in most BC liquor stores, I think. And if you can find them in BC, you can probably find them anywhere, because they're very easily found, I think, in Canada. I know this one's available in Ontario, and I'm sure those of you in the United States will have no problem finding these either. And if there's anybody watching from France, bonjour. I promise to do the rest of this in English. I'm not going to butcher your language. Je parle français un peu seulement. That's about the only thing I remember from high school. High school French. I never use it, but I still remember most of what I learned in grade 11. Anyways, so this is Ormerine. Is that the name of the winery? The region is called Picpoul de Pinet, and the grape, as I said, is Picpoul Blanc. So I poured myself a glass just before I started this. This is a grape that's quite often blended And I've been told that's because of the color. It's very light in color. I'm not sure why that's so important, because it's a delicious wine. And it's really aromatic. Big, like, aromas just punch you in the face. White flowers, passion fruit, a little bit of grapefruit, lemon rind. It's just a really nice aromatic wine. And the palate is very, very similar. A lot of citrus there. Lemon. Passion fruit. It's very dry. I'd call this a bright, lively acidity, like medium plus acidity. It's not punching in the face acidity that you get from a Riesling, but it's up there. It's lovely. Probably ages beautifully, although I haven't tried. Yeah. It's screaming to be. Let me be clear. It's perfectly good to drink on its own, which I'm doing now and we'll do later. But it's screaming to be enjoyed with some shellfish. Even just a charcuterie plate. Something simple. Big rich cheeses, something like that. Probably delicious. Yeah. Nice wine. That's $17.99 in BC liquor stores. So across Canada it'll be less than that, because BC is the most expensive place out here as far as I know. Well, this one I know, the red, gone to the red, $23.99 in BC, and I'm pretty sure it's $17.50 in Ontario. So I'm sure it's probably cheaper in Quebec and every other province too. So this is Gérard Bertrand, a very well-known producer of wine. This is a Syrah Mourvèdre blend. I don't know the percentages, and believe me, I looked. I couldn't find it listed anywhere. And I read the back of the bottle about 5 times to see if it said what the percentage was, but it did not. So I poured I decanted this 45 minutes ago. Yeah. So obviously Syrah is a very common grape in France. In the northern Rhone especially, Hermitage, Saint-Joseph, Gros Hermitage, lots of really high-end, expensive, and fantastic examples of Syrah. So this one they've blended with a little bit of Mourvèdre. I don't know, I shouldn't say a little bit, it could be 50-50 as far as I know, but I'm going to guess, from having smelled and tasted it, it's probably 80-20, maybe 75-25 Syrah Mourvèdre. But don't take my word for that, I'm just totally spitballing. Yeah, so a lot of black plum, blackberry, violets, herbs on the nose, a little bit of maybe a red raspberry too, black cherry. And the palate brings a lot more than that. This is 2016, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it is for sure. So, you know, let's pick it up 4 years of age. A slight little bit of leather coming through. Smoke, dried herbs. There's some evidence of oak. I don't know how much new French oak they use on this. I wonder if it says on here. I don't remember it mentioning that. No, it doesn't mention that. I have to look it up. 14% alcohol. It's not over the top. There's a white pepper on the finish there. Yeah, it's a nice wine. This is not one I would necessarily just sit and drink. It'll benefit from food, something big and fatty. Any hearty meat dish. Grilled steak, of course. Beef stew. Roasted duck. I don't know. Anything like that would probably be delicious with this wine. Acidity's high, medium plus to high. It's dry, lovely tannins are a little bit grippy still. Probably could have given this another 4 or 5 years, but it's good now. If you're drinking that now, I would decant it for a couple of hours. I bet you it'll be better in a couple of hours, and it'll be better when I have it with my dinner, which is going to be steak and noodles bowl. It'll go up well with that, I think. So one of the things I want to do with these sessions that I'm presenting is hopefully entertain, because otherwise if you're not entertained you're going to be flippy and you'll find some cat videos, which are cute. But I also want to bring a few things to light you may not know about, which in this particular case, this region. And France in general, I'm going to do quite a few in France, I think. Not exclusively, but I know that when I was younger at wine and getting into this, France confused the hell out of me. There was no question about it. You know, we're used to walking into a store and buying a Pinot Noir, a Chardonnay, a Syrah, and that's hardly ever on the bottles in France. This is an exception. It actually does say Syrah Mourvedre on it, but it also says Saint-Chinon. It does give the region. That's much more common. So if you knew what Saint-Chinon was, you would know what's probably in this bottle. If you knew what Picpoul was, that's a bit of a bad example because Picpoul de Pinet is the region and Picpoul Blanc is the grape. But of course, there's so many that are confusing. I mean, there's a region in France called Muscadet, which obviously is Muscat, except it's not at all. They have nothing to do with each other. Muscadet, the grape in Muscadet is Melon de Bourgogne, which has nothing to do with Muscat. Muscat comes from totally different places, and yet you look at those two, they look almost the same. So if you didn't know what you were doing, you walk into a French liquor store and you see Muscadet on it, you might think, oh, that's a Muscat. Maybe it's a little sweet. Maybe I'll try this. And you get home and it's Melon de Bourgogne, which is nothing even remotely close to Muscat. Anyway, there's a lot of those examples in France. Of course, you go to the high-end section of a French liquor store, and you don't until you can get the region. You get 3 levels down to the village. So, especially like Burgundy and Bordeaux. Burgundy especially, you get right into the village, Gevrey-Chambertin, and I mean, if you don't know what that is, you don't have a prayer, right? Who's going to go and spend $150 on a bottle of wine? You have no idea what the grape is. Nobody. So I'm going to do some of that stuff in some of these tastings, and hopefully we can learn a little bit together. Because believe me, I've drank a lot of French wine. I've studied a little bit, and I don't have a clue. Like I don't know 20% of what I need to know to really be knowledgeable about French wine. It's very confusing. But anyway, hopefully you can run out and get a couple bottles of these, because like I said, you'll have no trouble finding these in most places. I bet you this is in every single BC liquor store and probably across the country because it's very common. Generally BC liquor stores, especially the ones that are not that huge, are not going to have a huge selection of the Languedoc wines. They'll have a few. So to be able to get this one even here in Chilliwack is pretty good. Like I said, $18, $24. You're not going to get quality wine for less than that. You're just not. And in fact, in most regions of France, for this kind of quality, you'll pay double. A Rhone varietal, a nice decent Viognier from the Rhone, it's going to be $35. That's just a decent one. If you want to get into Condrieu or Vouvray, and those are higher end whiter grapes, and of course, don't get me started on white Burgundy, the price of that stuff. And again, you're not going to find a Syrah, blended or not, you're not going to find a Syrah for $24 from Hermitage or from any of the main regions in the northern Rhone, right? They just don't exist. You'll find some half-decent Syrah blended with a few other grapes in the southern Rhone, Chateau de Pop, and that kind of thing. They're still more expensive than this. $24. Honestly, you buy a Chateau de Pop for $24, you're probably not going to be that happy with it. And I think you'll like this. So, hey, try it out. Let me know. Let me know in the comments what you think. As I said, I'm going to post the link that I posted back in February where I reviewed these 2 wines. I'm going to post that at the end of this video. And I will hopefully be back next week with another blind tasting. Convince the wife to have, stop working so damn much. It's a problem. And I'm going to go and drink the rest of this wine now, especially this one right now. So, cheers. Have a great day. Drink good wine. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.